Hi guys, welcome to the Mohit UPSC vlogs and welcome to the today's current affairs session. In this session, I will be studying current affair from Byju's daily current affair analysis. I daily read it from this current affair analysis, Byju's current affair analysis, and for revision, I refer to their monthly magazine. So in this way, I cover this current affair and if you want to study with me this current affair, you can just open Byju's website and open the daily current affair analysis of today's that is 2nd June 2021 and start studying with me. And I will be explaining some key concepts and key terms which are coming in the reading, and I will try to explain those terms. If you, whatever I will think that you may feel difficulty in understanding, I will explain those terms. Okay, guys, I think now we should start this session. So let's start with the topics directly. So in GS1, there is nothing for today. GS2, polity and governance. This is the first topic. Give details on schemes for orphan children. Okay. So this topic is related to the scheme launched by central government for orphan children who have been orphaned because of the COVID pandemic, and PM has launched this scheme. Name is PM Care for Children scheme. Okay, guys. So in this article, they have not given detail because we have already studied this in detail in 30th May 2021 current CNA. So we need not to spend much time on this topic. Again, this will be repeated. So and this is going to become a static topic for 2 3 years. So you should prepare it thoroughly. This scheme is very important. It will be helpful to you in other exams also, like banking exam, RBI exam, NABARD grade A exam. So you should prepare this scheme thoroughly. Okay, we can check also what is the detail of this scheme. We'll come back to this scheme because my internet is very slow, so it is taking time to open up. So let's go to the second topic. And this of 2005 page. Let me read this article, then I will explain if anything is difficult to understand. Okay, so this article is about the Disaster Management Act 2005. Central government has issued a showcase notice for the Chief Secretary of West Bengal State because their CM, Chief Minister, did not participated in the meeting related to Yas cyclone, which which has impacted the West Bengal and Odisha recently. It 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 started in west of Bay of Bengal and it had the landfall on Odisha and West Bengal coast. So the Home Ministry issued a showcase notice under Section 51 of Disaster Management Act 2005. So this act came after tsunami 2004. You should be knowing that tsunami came in on the eastern coast of India in 2004. After that, this act came into picture. So, what is the important news? Okay, so there is a authority, National Disaster Management Authority, which is headed by the Prime Minister. This information you should remember because it can be given in a statement in prelims. So there it will be helpful for you. So in when COVID pandemic started, so central government used this act to streamline the management of pandemic, empowering district magistrate to take decisions. Okay, guys. So this act is extended across the country till 30th June of 2021, so that supply of oxygen and movement of vehicles can be easily allowed to the re- required places. Okay, guys. So this under Section 51, it can be a punishable offense also if uh, officer is not complying with the central government's order. So what are the conditions? Without reasonable cause, if he is not complying, he or she is not complying with the central government's order. Second condition is failure of an offer to perform the duty, officer to perform the duty without due permission or lawful excuse. Okay, so these two are the conditions in this act. So let's go to the next topic, that is panel had warned MHA on Lakshadweep. Okay, so this is about the Lakshadweep Development Authority Regulation 2021 that has been promulgated in the Lakshadweep Union Territory. So there is a wide protest in the Union Territory against against these rules. So this article is about that. We have already discussed this. If something new comes, we will discuss it again. Okay, guys, let's go to the next topic. That is, BRICS will help India in fighting COVID-19, says China Minister. Okay, so this is related to the Chinese Minister statement on BRICS grouping. You should be knowing the BRICS country name: B for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for China, and S for South Africa. So it's very easy to remember these countries' name. Their meeting is also in the sequence like the name is there. Like this year, India is taking chair of the BRICS organization. Next year it will be China. Then next year South Africa. And after that Brazil, then Russia. This is the cycle in which the chair of BRICS grouping is shifted every year. So, what is the speciality of this group? In this group, five of the largest developing countries of the world are there. So, all the five countries are developing and they are the largest among the developing countries. 41% of the global population. This group represents 41% of the global population, 24% of the global GDP, and 16% of the global trade. Okay, so this data you can remember. It can be used in the mains exam to quote related to the to, to quote in the questions related to the international relations or international organizations like BRICS. India hosted it. Okay, so all the ministers, there was a meeting of ministers in in this grouping, which was headed by the India. India has the chair of this grouping this year. So in this meeting, all the ministers agreed to reform the multilateral system and to reignite the dead most of the dead systems of most of the dead multilateral system like WTO, like WHO. So these systems they are their emphasis is on revival of these multilateral systems. So they have devised set of six principles that should guide the reform of multilateral institutions. So India and South Africa have already been raising trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights, that is TRIPS waiver for COVID-19 vaccine, but Western countries are opposing it, especially European Union. All the BRICS countries have agreed to support this. Okay, so all the BRICS countries have agreed to support this measure. They called for supporting ongoing concentration in WTO on COVID-19 vaccine, intellectual property rights waiver, and use of vaccine and talk of preparing. Okay, so all the BRICS countries are going to support this proposal of India and South Africa to demand the waivers in the TRIPS agreement for vaccine development. Okay, so let's go to the next topic, guys. That is, Europe should speak in one voice. What is this about? Anna, I don't know. Uh, Okay, so this topic is related to the Lithuania's exit from the 17 plus 1 grouping that was China-led grouping in Eastern Europe. So it was focused on the improvement of infrastructure and trade infrastructure in the Eastern European countries, which are relatively less developed as compared to the Western European countries. So Lithuania have pulled out from this grouping and this is about this this is all about this topic, so not much important. We have already discussed this 2 or 3 days before in daily current affair analysis. So let's go to the next topic. GS3, there is nothing. GS4, nothing. Now it comes to the editorial cycle of child labor. Okay, so this article is about the child labor. Let me read it first, then I will explain the difficult terms and difficult concept or important concepts also, which you should be remembering for prelims and mains. The sense of it. Okay, so this data also you can remember. Census of India 2011. This is data from the census 2011. That 1 million working children in the age group of 5 to 14. It means 1 million child labor was there in 2011 according to the 2011 census in India. 1 million. So this data you can quote in the mains questions related to this topic, child labor. A substantial proportion of the N 1 million. Okay, so 1 million, I think in this figure is 10 million, and then only it can be 8.1 million. So out of these 10 million, 8.1 million people were in child were in rural area, and they were engaged mostly in agricultural labors as a agricultural labor sector. Okay, so what are the factors which are causing the child labor in India, increasing the child labor? Inequality, inequality of income, in inequality of income in different sections, caste, class, in and urban, rural and urban inequality. Inequality is a vast topic in itself because it covers different types of inequalities in itself. So inequality is the main one of the main factor. Lack of educational opportunities in rural areas because most of the lower caste people, children go to primary schools, and that is to only for getting the midday meal scheme food for them, and they don't spend much time in the school, and they go to fields for working with their parents in the as a agricultural labor. So this is also an important factor. Expectation of persistent. Okay, cultural expectations also contribute to the child labor. Okay, so this is a UNESCO data. You can remember this also, but so much data we should not remember. We should remember only one or two data related to one topic. Otherwise, we cannot produce it in the exam. So you can remember whether this one or whether starting one. So any one data you can remember. 95% of children are attending school in 6 to 13 years of age, and this is only 79.6% for the 14 to 17 years of age. That indicates the higher dropout rate after the primary education, that is sixth or eighth class. After sixth class, I think the dropout rate is high. Effect of child labor. Okay, so effect, that it will be harmful for the physical and psychological health of the children, and it will throw these children into the cycle of poverty. Okay, so the trend we can see that child labor is decreasing in India, but not at the required pace. It was 2.6 million people, children in 2001, and now 1 million in 2011. Okay, no, it is decreased by 2.6 million between 2001 to 2011. It means it was 3.6 million in 2001, and it is 1 million in 2011. Okay, guys, so policy in so what are the policies towards this Manrega? Okay, Manrega is a great scheme which is providing economic stability to the rural families so that they can send their children to the schools. So Manrega is a very good scheme. Second is Right to Education Act 2009, midday meal scheme. Yes, so these two scheme is also important. Right to Education Act 2009, which provides free education from 6 to 14 age of children for the 6 to 14 age of children, and midday meal scheme, which provides food in the school, cooked food in the school, so that the attendance of the children is has increased because of the midday meal scheme implemented. Third is in National Child Labor Project. Okay, National Child Labor Project. So it is re rehabilitating the children rescued from the child labor. So the children who are rescued from the child labor, they are rehabilitated by this project, National Child Labor Project. So this is also an important initiative, National Child Labor Project. So, so the most important thing to know about any scheme you are reading for UPSC, it is what type of scheme it is, central sector scheme. So this scheme is a central sector scheme. It means the 100% expenditure is borne by the central government. Under this scheme, the children in the age of okay. So in this scheme, 9 to 14 years of children of 9 to 14 years of age, जो हैं work से they are withdrawn from the work, or you can say they are withdrawn from the child labor and put it them into the special training center. So in those special training centers, they are provided with vocational training, bridge education, midday meal, stipend, health care, stipend. They are also provided with a stipend and health care before being marginalized into formal education system. Okay, after that they are mainstreamed into formal education system. So this information is very important. It can come as a statement in the prelims exam. So this scheme is very important. Guys must remember scheme, National Child Labor Project. Okay, so if children are from 5 to 8 years of age, they are directly linked to the formal education system. सर्व शिक्षा अभियान मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ लेबर। Okay, so Ministry of Labor and Labor and Employment also running a program, running an online portal that is named as Pencil, platform for effective enforcement of no child labor. So you should remember this name. They can ask the pencil. You have this type of question are asked in this form like pencil. Pencil you have seen in news in the recent past is related to which to what, so they can give option related to this, and this is this can be a good question in prelims, so you should remember this and you should remember the ministry which is handling this project. Government, okay, so in this portal, uh, law enforcement agencies, non-government NGOs can share information and coordinate of child labor cases at the national, state, local level for effective enforcement of child labor laws. It also provides for the better monitoring and transparency with respect to child labor laws. Okay, so it is actually working in the more transparency and accuracy and better monitoring of the child labor laws. So this portal is very important, pencil. Okay, so these conventions you should remember. These are very important related to child labor. So these are conventions of ILO, that is International Labour Organization. That is convention number 138 regarding that. So this convention is related to the admission of age to the employment, and convention number 182 was regarding the worst form of child labor. So these two conventions you should remember. This can be asked in the prelims question, and you can use these conventions in the mains questions also. Convention number 138 and convention number 182. 138 is providing admission of age to employment, and 182 is providing the worst form of child labor. It should not be less than the. So this convention number 138 provide 14 years of age as minimum age for employment. Central government and new law. Okay, so there is a new law, Child Labor Prohibition and Prevention Amendment Act 2016, banning employment of child labor below 14 years, all applicants, obligations and procedures. Okay, so this act is there. It is amended in 2016. Concerns क्या क्या है? Slow progress, impact of the pandemic. The pandemic is impacting more because it is going to throw more number of people into the poverty. So it will increase the situation of child labor. So we need to take uh, precautionary measures to curb the increment in the child labor. Increased economic insecurity, lack of social protection, reduce household income, digital divide. Okay. So way forward, what should be the way forward? Stable economic growth. So government is trying their best. Decent work for all. If economic growth is there, then decent work will be there. Universal education. This is also government is trying. They have brought new education policy and they have increased the expenditure on education also in the recent budget. Social protection. Yes, they have introduced many social security schemes, but the already existing laws should be implemented with more care, recognizing the needs and rights of children. Yes, this is the way forward. Community-based organization and the role of NGO should be more in this sector. It can so NGOs can help in reducing the child labor very much. Okay, so this data is very important. UN has declared 2021 as the International Year for Elimination of Child Labor. So this is important data. It can be asked in the other exams also like SSC, CGL or bank exams because it is important data. So this is international data. So you should remember the first two data that is related to 2011 census and this data. This is international data. 152 million children around the world are still in child labor. 73 million of them in hazardous work. Okay, okay. So SDG 8.7 envisage ending child labor in all its form by 2025. So this is a sustainable development goal also. It is in SDG 8.7 to end the child labor in all its form by 2020, 2015. So this is also important statement. It can be asked in the prelims questions. Okay guys, so let's move to the next topic. That is when two is too little. Okay, this is about the three-child policy recently introduced by the China after their recent after the report of their census conducted and conducted decadally. Every 10 years they conduct a census. So the result of these census came. So their two-child policy is not working well to increase the youth population in their country. So they have introduced three-child policy. Okay, guys, we should not spend too much time on this because it's not going to be asked in our exam. We can just learn some lessons from Chinese policies on population control. That if we control the population using laws or by direct actions, then it may cause population crisis in future. Because in China, the aged population is going to increase rapidly, and because they have already taken advantage of their demographic dividend. If you guys don't know what is demographic dividend is a economic term in which a country take advantage of their high young age population, working age population. So China had their maximum demographic dividend in last decade and they have taken the advantage and it helped their country to grow at a very faster rate. India is in the middle of their highest working age population, but because of lack of proper education system and a lack of employment, India may miss the in, means it's complete it's demographic dividend, or India may not take the full advantage of its demographic dividend if its youth, young age population or working age population goes unemployed or less educated. So to take advantage of demographic dividend, India should focus on health and education. Then only India can take advantage of this demographic dividend. So this is the thing we should know about this topic. I think we need not to spend much time on this topic. Okay, so current fertility rate of India is at replacement level fertility of 2.1. So what is replacement level fertility? So uh, if fertility rate of any country is 2.1, it means it will replace the population which is going to die in future and which is going to take birth. So it it is the perfect fertility ratio to make to keep a stable population in a country. Okay, so this is the definition. Replacement level fertility is the level of fertility at which population exactly replaces itself from one generation to the next. So I hope this definition is clear to nations or India. So, okay, so this is about the FDI. In last month, India recorded highest FDI inflow in 2021-22, 2021. So they are discussing what were the reason for highest FDI in previous financial year in spite of the low GDP growth. As you can see. Okay, so this article is talking about that short-term foreign portfolio investments are entirely responsible for surge in foreign investment. So what is FPI? FPI are short-term investment in stock market. They cannot invest in long-term assets. They just invest in mostly in stock market, money market. So this is a very what we should say, very unstable investment. They can they go by the market sentiments. Okay, so this article is talking, giving anti-argument of the reasons government has given for the high increased FDI in the country. So it's not that much important article. It's just criticizing the government policies. Economic toolkit revealed. Okay, so this is about the RBI's annual report 2021. So we have already read about this. Justice A.K. Mishra appointed. Okay, so Justice A.K. Mishra has been appointed as the chairman of National Human Rights Commission. So who select this chairman of NHRC? It is a high powered selection committee. PM is chairman of this committee. Selection Speaker of Lok Sabha is there. Deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha, leader of opposition of both houses, and Union Home Minister. So this uh, the composition of this committee we should remember can be given in the options in prelims exam. Okay, guys. Okay, so this is about the bird flu case. China reported first bird flu case. Uh, first world's first human infection of H1, H10, and 3 bird flu. So this is a type of bird flu. So Chinese authorities are saying that this is a low pathogenic, less likely to cause death or severe illness in birds. Okay, so next topic is IMD. Okay, IMD has predicted that there will be more rain in this monsoon in the month of June and September than its earlier estimate. Okay, so what IMD has predicted is that monsoon rain would be 101% of the LPA long period average, that is 88 centimeter. So it will be 101% of 88 centimeter. So there is a phenomena called negative IOD, Indian Ocean Dipole condition. So this also affect the monsoon, but the IMD is saying it's not going to affect much to the monsoon. How it is affecting, how it affects, and what is the mechanism of IOD? We have to search it. I'm not. I'm confusing. I'm confused about the positive IOD and negative IOD. So I have to search it. But this session has already become very long, and I'm feeling very sleepy. So we will search it later, or you can search it by yourself. or you can study in the geography class also, geography books also. So this is a static topic. You can prepare this in your geography books. This topic you should already cover because monsoon is a very important topic in geography. So you should cover all the factors uh, that affect geography monsoon. Okay, so they have explained the Indian Ocean dipole as in, you know, okay, so if western part of ocean, it is a irregular oscillation of sea surface temperature in Indian Ocean. So if western part of Indian Ocean becomes warmer, then it is called the positive IOD. If the western part of Indian Ocean becomes colder, then it is called the eastern negative IOD. So positive IOD is found to be beneficial for the Indian monsoon, but negative IOD adversely affect the Indian monsoon. Okay, guys, I hope you got the idea about the IOD. So let's move to the questions. Today's question. First question is consider the following statement which is binding on the so so first statement is wrong according to me. It is not binding on president and check 2 and 3 are correct. Let's check it out. So B is true. Let's go to the next question. Purchasing Management Managers Index or PMI is an economical indicator which is derived after monthly survey of different companies for manufacturers favor manufacturing PMI. The question here is sent to the manufacturing companies. The questions are related to five key variables: new order, output, employment, suppliers, delivery item, stock of the item purchased. Each one of the following reflect the correct increasing order according to their weights. So इनका वेटेज पता होना चाहिए. पहले तो हमें ये भी पता होना चाहिए. First we should know these factors also. What are the factors on which this PMI is evaluated? So new order, output, employment, supply, delivery item, stock of items purchased. Okay, guys. So I don't know the weightage, so let's check it. The answer A 54321. It means stock of item purchased is the highest weightage. Then suppliers delivery item, employment third, then output, then new orders. New orders has minimum weightage. Oh, increasing order. Okay, it means new orders has maximum weightage. So new orders have 30% weightage, output 25%, then employment 20%. So it is all total 75%. Supplier delivery item 15%, stock of item purchase 10%. Yes, this thing we should know. If PMI is above 150, then it represents expansion when compared with the previous month. Its value ranges from 0 to 100. So this is the important data. It can be asked in the prelims questions. Vande Bharat mission. A. So answer is A only. Vandan Yojana deals with financial inclusion, tax relief for street vendors. No, yeah, this is Vandan. This is for tribals. 6 month moratorium on term loans announced by the Reserve Bank of India during COVID-19. Economic development of tribals. Answer is the object of the Butler Committee of 1927 was to define the jurisdiction of central and provincial government, become the power secretary of the government of India and United States. I think this is about the defining jurisdiction of central and provincial governments. Ah, this is wrong. D. Improve the relationship between the government of India and Indian states. Chairman of a three-member committee appointed by government of English and United to Indian provincial states and British government of India. Subject to order committee of must improve the relationship between government of India and the Indian states. Okay, so okay guys, we have completed these questions also. You can try these main questions. Let's go to the our already open topic. PM Care Children Scheme. Let's know more about the PM Care Children Scheme. Okay, so if children who have lost both parents or the lone surviving parents or their legal guardian or adoptive parents due to COVID-19 will be supported under this scheme. Okay, so this is the criteria for this is the eligibility criteria for this scheme. So what will be given? 10 lakh for each children till he or she reaches the age of 18. Okay, so 10 lakh rupees will be given to each children when they reaches the age of 18, and monthly stipend will be paid from 18 to 24 23. When they reach 23, the whole amount of 10 lakh can be handed over to them. So okay, so if child is admitted in private school, so government will pay the fee from PM Care Fund under Right to Education Act of 2009. What was the article introduced while this Right to Education Act was in? It is under Article 21A of the Constitution that provides right to education for all the children of age group of 6 to 14 years of age. What was the amendment? That was 87th amendment. So this information is important related to right to education, guys. You should remember this. Okay, so PM Care will also meet the expense of uniform, net textbook and notebook. Okay, so children from age group of 11 to 18 will have option to study in residential school under central government such as Sainik School and Navodaya Vidyalaya. So they can study in Sainik School or and Navodaya Vidyalaya also if they want to. And they will be covered under the Ayushman Bharat scheme. They will be provided 5 lakh health cover insurance. So this is all about the PM Care Children Scheme. PM Care for Children Scheme. Okay, guys. I hope you guys like this session, and if you really like the session and like my dedication to complete this session, even I was feeling very sleepy, then please subscribe my channel. I will keep bringing these daily session for you guys, and I will bring topic wise explanations of the current affair topics in future when I get time to prepare these things. And please like my videos and share it with your friends and subscribe my channel, guys. Thank you for joining me.